recording. This is the midterm review. We should be recording. And here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you questions, and we'll basically go in the order of attendance that I took attendance in, which means Courtney, you're first, Chris, you're second. Courtney, if you get this correct, you get 5 points, okay? We're going to have a contest, and we'll see who the smartest person in the class is. Whoops, Chris, you can early look at your at yours. Courtney, fill in the blanks here.
B, source and receiver.
Look at how quick that was. Why did you think it was source and receiver?
Because that's what was like on the slides or whatever, like in class we talked about source and receiver, not talker and squawker.
All right, how about connotation, not obfuscation?
Just not the answer.
All right, yeah, that was a pretty easy one. I don't mean to make them all this easy, and Chris's is really hard, you'll see. Let's see, there it is. Boom. This is the worst. It won't even stay on the screen. Chris, this is hard. The 5 most common forms of communication media used by students. Now you have to think to yourself first, you have to say, what is communication media?
Well, I know there's like 5 different types in general. Like I know there's like verbal and nonverbal.
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
Nope. You want to pass this over to Meg, or you want to try? Should I give him another try, Meg? I'll give you a hint. You're so nice, Meg, to give him this hint because I know you knew the answer, but I just gave you this. Remember the communications assignment? And I said, have a conversation, use different mediums, media. Remember that?
Yeah.
Take another shot at this.
Oh, it's like different forms of like. So like, okay, I think I know what you're meaning by this. So,
if we were gonna have communication between you and I, what are 5 common forms of communication media used by students?
Oh, like social media and stuff like that, So
it's an interesting question because it doesn't specifically say interpersonal communication. It just says communication media. So your point is that this is invalid. But if I was looking for interpersonal communication media, Meg, help him out. Help him out. The poor guy. He's going to lose 5 points if he can't get this right. Just help him out.
Well, I think what you mean is like text and call and stuff like that.
Text and phone calls?
Yeah.
You can't just give them 2. You should just explain to them what it means.
Text, phone call. Wait, do you want me to say all of them?
No, you just gave them 2 answers. I think that might be enough to help them.
I think I understand. Okay. I didn't think this was going to be the answer. So
yeah, I know. You were thinking common. You were probably thinking like podcast, whatever.
Yeah, because
YouTube. Yeah, those aren't the answers. That's mass media. I should have been more specific.
Yeah, so isn't it so like I said, text and call, and then what was it called? Like video chat, stuff like that, and then
video chat. Okay, we wouldn't have even. That was not even on here, but it should be, especially nowadays. So you get 3 of them, Meg. What do you think? Meg, what do you think it is if you're in a classroom or if you were to just stop one of your teachers in the hall and have a conversation? What would we call that in interpersonal communication?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Physically talk to them.
Let's say this. Let's say I was a teacher in your school and we weren't under COVID-19 regulations. And you were to just talk to me, and I was just to turn, and I was to look you right in the face, and I was to say something, and then you would look me right in the face, and you were to say something, and then I would say something back. What's the term we use in interpersonal communication for that sort of a thing?
A conversation.
It's a conversation, but it's I'm looking you in the face, you're looking me in the face.
Like source receiver, that kind of thing.
We keep going. There's a term we use. There's a term we use for it. We say there's text, there's video chats, there's telephone calls, and then there is when 2 people are in the same room together, the teacher with his students, the students with the teacher,
I'm not sure.
I could
Ah,
help. I think.
What's that?
Like face to face?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's why I kept saying face in that conversation. That's good though. You're helping them out. You're pulling them through it. You got one more for me? Face to face is what we would call it in person.
It's called face to face, video chat, and let's see.
Should I give him another hint, Meg? I mean, giving him about 20 hints. He's come up with 4 answers.
Is it email?
That's what I was gonna say, but like, isn't that kind of the same thing as texting? Kind
Yeah,
of.
it is. Emails,
Or letter?
letters, I mean, notes these days, any of that stuff. It's different mediums for different messages. You remember, we didn't have this as a thing, but we probably will next week. If you were going to be late for an appointment and you were going to send somebody a message, which medium would you use? You wouldn't send them an email because why? They might not check their email. You might call them, you might text them. It probably depends on how late you were going to be, what the reason was going to be, but different mediums for different messages. But yeah, those are that when we talk about communication media, what we're talking about is we're talking about interpersonal communication, and we're talking about how you get your message to me, how you deliver it. How many points should we give him for that, Meg?
You can give him 5.
Oh, you are so nice. You are so nice to him. All right. Jadalee, you're next, and then Meg. Sorry, Meg, I had you. Is Jadalee still even here?
Yeah.
Okay, Jadalee. Here's the next one. This is yours, and then Meg. Oh, no. Communication involves choices, and it's an essay. And let's say, Courtney, you can judge whether or not this is her response is a good response for this one. Here you go, Jadalee. Give an example of making a choice in interpersonal communications.
So you can say, okay, so you're going to like a job interview and like you can make the choice to like smile more and maybe like really work on your physical like body language so that you look more appealing to
Okay.
the person interviewing you.
All right, so you're saying that basically you make the choice going into an interview that you are going to be sure to smile and give off a good vibe.
Yes.
All right, Courtney, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's making a choice.
Okay, I would say it is. Good, nice job. Nice job. 5 points for her. Now we go to Meg. Oh, this is not even fair, Meg. Look at this. Look at how long this one is. This is, let me get rid of the, this. Are you guys getting the bar with all the faces?
It's gone now. Oh, for me, yeah, I have.
Okay, so but you can read the answers now, right? What are the 4
Yeah.
principles of communication? Oh, this is a lot to read. Communication contains content and relationship information, can be intentional or unintentional, is dynamic, and is irreversible. We are always communicating, whether we think we are or not, based on not just what we say, communicate, but the relationship of those involved in the exchange. Also, anything we say cannot be taken back.
I'm gonna say C, both of the above.
Both of the above. You mean the one I didn't even mention? You're going to pick that one?
Oh.
You're correct. You're correct. We're fine with that. I'm not going to torture with that. Yeah, you're correct. All I really did in the second one is I just restated what I wrote in the first one. I just put it into different worlds, I just put it into different words. So you see how that does? You see how that's the same thing? Okay. Who's next? Ashley. Ashley, this one's for you. Which 3 of these are components of self? Somehow I think I lost the question there, but I don't think, I think I get rid of the slide. So which 3 of these are components of self? Ashley, is it positive mental attitude, self-loathing, self-awareness, self-concept, self-esteem, or self-magazine? Pick.
I would say C, self-awareness,
Yeah,
self-concept, and self-esteem.
that is correct. You guys are a smart class so far. Allison, we haven't even got to the tough questions, Allison, but now we're going to get to the tough questions. Here we go. Allison, when one forms an opinion, acts on that opinion, and that opinion becomes reality, this is called blank. Masking the public self, losing face, a self-fulfilling prophecy, or revealing the self incrementally.
C.
See, a self-fulfilling prophecy. Very good. Very good. Allison, I know, is the only member of the class that reads. I knew that would be easy for you. Yeah. Moving on. Who's next? Natalie. Natalie. Oh, the Johari window. You remember this one, Natalie?
Yeah.
Okay. What are the four sides of the Johari window? Are they A, left, right, up and down? B, known to others, to self, to parents, intimate? Or are they C, open, hidden, blind, and unknown? Or are they D, open, hidden, valley, ranch? Or E, inside, outside, top, bottom?
C, open, hidden, blind, and unknown.
Good. Did I make that joke about Hidden Valley Ranch before?
I think so, yeah.
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 Quiz.
On our quiz.
What's that?
It was on our quiz.
Yeah, it's a terrible joke, but I kind of like it. And of course, Hidden Valley Ranch is what? Salad dressing. Maeve. Maeve, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Let's see. Who was it who judged the, Courtney judged the last one. Meg, you can judge this one. Let me know if she gets this right. Maeve, how do your values influence your opinions of other people?
I mean, I don't know, like by judging based on your values, like you can decide like who you want to be friends with, I guess. I don't know.
What do you think, Meg? You think we got to push her a little bit more for a little more explanation?
I think like what she's saying is right, but I think she's just missing the part where it's like if you value someone who takes, or if you value like physical appearance and like personal hygiene, and you meet someone that doesn't really care that much about that,
Yep.
then you'll have a negative opinion towards them.
Okay.
So like kind of like what, like remember we did that assignment where we had to like write down what you value in others?
Maybe,
Like if they-
maybe you remember that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Meg.
Like if you value like someone who's really like, if you value trust and someone you know isn't trustworthy, then your opinion on them could be negative, is like what I'm trying to say.
All right, so here's the question then. Would you say that Maeve gets 5 points for that, or what do you think, Meg?
Yeah, I think she got 5 points.
You guys are the easiest graders in the history of the world. But yeah, I give it to you, Maeve. Yeah, you were pretty close, Maeve. I think you were on the way to. I think you were right. I would say if I ever asked you for an essay, if I ever give you a written essay and I'm looking for you to explain it, you got to go just into a little bit more depth. Okay?
Yeah, I was just confused how to explain it.
Yeah, I know. It's tough to be on the spot. Even in my college classes, they hate the essays. Moving on, Heismer. Maeve, let me ask you this. Maeve, you still there?
Yeah.
How do you think Heismer's going to do in his question?
I think he's gonna get 5 points.
Well, we'll see. Heismer, here you go. As someone talks, you nod. You are giving nonverbal A, feedback, B, feed forward, C, feedback, or D, judgment.
A, feedback.
Yeah, that was pretty easy. Nice job. All right, Heismer, 5 points for you. Alice, here we go. Justin Bieber tells fans not to listen to the noise. He is referring to A, the music on his CDs, B, negative press about his arrest record, C, physical noise in the room, or D, a TV show based on The View.
That's hard. That could like apply to B or C, I guess, but maybe B.
What's that?
B.
I'm sorry, which one? I just didn't hear your answer. Go ahead.
Negative press about his arrest record.
Yes, yes. I would say B or C. I would accept either one. But if he's telling his fans not to, don't listen to the noise, he's probably not talking about the noise in the room because you're in there, so he's not going to give you that message. You know, you're all in the same room. You're all hearing the same stuff. But yeah, what would noise be in that or what could noise be? It could be negative press about his arrest record, or it could be physical noise in the room. So I thought you did a nice job of picking the best answer. And this is one of the other things in, I don't know how they do it in your college classes, but we're always looking for the best answer. And in this case, you're correct, it's B. So nice job. Emily, when we talk about context for communication, we mean where it takes place, A. B, the relationship between source and receiver. C, the situation that the conversation takes place in, or D, all of the above. Emily, what is context?
Probably all of the above.
Very
'cause
good.
if-
You want to explain it? Go ahead, you can explain it.
Oh, I was just saying, like, because it could be like different forms of context. Like it says right there, like where it takes place, or like the story that they're conversing about, like that sort of context of different things, not just one
Good.
simple thing.
Yep. Yep, it could be all of them. So context means a lot of different things. Libby, this one's for you. The perception process includes selection, association, and disassociation. It involves selection, origination, and integration. C, it includes selection, organization, and interpretation. Or D, it involves sedation, ovation, and situation. Which is the correct answer?
I'm not really sure about this one, but
Take your time. What's that?
I think it would be C.
Selection, organization, and interpretation.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. Anybody want to explain to her why it wouldn't have been any of the other three?
I just think it was because that's the only one that has organization in it, and I think that's really important.
Okay. Who was that who said that? Was that you,
That was
Libby?
me, Libby. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing, Libby, is if you really read this, you see it's kind of, the other answers are all kind of nonsensy.
Yeah.
You know,
Like sedation.
sedation, ovation, and situation. So we give you a sedative, then we applaud, and then we say, you know, all right, you know, whatever the situation is. Yeah, I just basically put in a bunch of rhyming words or you know, words that sounded like something. I won't always do that, but once in a while I'll just do something like that just because there are students who, you know, remember it but not really know it. And I'm not trying to trick you so much as I'm trying to make sure you know the material. And so I always say read the questions because sometimes there'll be just words in there just designed to
Confuse you.
yeah, I mean designed to be if you're just trying to pick, oh, there was a word like that, then you'll get it wrong. But if you know it, it'll be pretty clear and pretty correct. So nice job on that one. Angel, this is for you. In the three-step perception process, we select bits of information as we observe or learn about them. That's A. B, we organize them based on what's important to us, frequently influenced by our own values. C, we interpret our findings to make our determinations about people, entities, and situations. D, all of the above. E, none of the above.
D, I guess.
D, all of the above?
Yeah,
Are you just guessing at that or do you know the answer?
I'm guessing.
Oh, okay. Well, know the answer know the answer when you see it on the test tomorrow, but that's correct. So, selection, organization, interpretation. Halo and horns. This is Niles. This is hard for you. You get 3 different questions here. So let's see how you do, Niles. A gestalt is a general sense of a person that is positive or negative. Is that true or false?
I don't know what a gestalt is.
What's that?
I don't know what a gestalt is.
Okay, remember we did the halo and horns?
Yeah, I remember that, but I just don't remember what that word means.
Okay, well, I'll tell you this. A gestalt is the general sense of a person.
Oh, okay.
It is like, oh, she's a good person. And again, sometimes it's because, oh, she's good in math and she says hi to me in the halls, and she's always well-dressed. And then other times it's, more information. Sometimes it's very, very little information. So it is.
No, I think that might be true.
What's that?
I'm gonna say true for that one.
You're true. It could be positive or it could be negative. You are correct. Gestalts may be influenced by positivity bias.
I guess that could be true.
Could be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is true. Negativity effect occurs when one places greater emphasis on negative things we learn about others than on positive things. Is that true or false?
I think that's true.
Yeah, it is true. The expression, if it helps you at all, is that bad news travels around the world before good news gets out of the driveway. And that is people say it a lot about news in general, that, they only write about when they write about high school kids, they always write the bad stuff. They never write the good stuff. Have you ever heard that expression? That's a criticism I used to hear a lot about newspapers. The truth is that that's not true. That the truth is that if you actually went through a newspaper, you'd find plenty of good things about high school kids. I think that the bad things get bigger play frequently because most of us are good, law-abiding citizens. And so the person who acts badly or breaks the law, who does something they shouldn't do, whether or not they are speeding and they crash a car, or whether or not they are defacing a building with graffiti or whatever, or breaking the law, that it's news because it isn't the norm. It breaks the norm. But people, have you ever heard of, let's say, can you think of a good example where somebody had good news and bad news coming out at the same time and nobody really listened to the good news because they got bad news? I know it's usually one or the other, but you will find that if somebody does something, I'm trying to think of a good example. If you hear a rumor about somebody, a bad rumor, are there ever any rumors at Haverhill High School?
Yeah.
Thank you. And am I correct to say they spread pretty quickly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas if somebody was just to say, let's say Meg, for example, if I said Meg was secretly a Russian spy, all right, that would get around the high school pretty quick, right? But if I said Meg is a good kid and very responsible, nobody would care. You'd be like, Allison, you'd tell Libby, and Libby would be like, so? Am I correct about that, Libby? If you just heard Meg was a good kid, you'd be like, eh. But if you heard she was a Russian spy, would you want to tell people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just watching the Spider-Man from a couple of years ago. Anybody see Spider-Man? The relatively new one, Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming? I'm sorry, I got the only class in Haverhill High where nobody watched Avengers movies.
I don't like superhero movies.
You don't like Avengers movies?
I've seen them. I'm kind of a fan.
Anyway, his friend gets the news that he's Spider-Man, which is actually good news, and he wants to tell everybody, but of course he can't because it's a secret identity. But that might be a situation where good news would probably travel pretty fast. Meg, if you were to find out that Heisman, for example, was Spider-Man, and you would want to tell people, right?
I mean, I'd want to, but I don't know if I would.
Yeah, he'd have to swear to secrecy, but that might be one of the exceptions of the rules. That would probably get around pretty quick. Anyway, Jimmy, you get the next question. You ready? Good.
Ready.
Oh, it looks like you got an essay. Here you go. Let's see, Allison, you'll be our judge for this one. Jimmy, here we go. Why would a person want to reduce uncertainty in a first encounter?
When you're meeting someone for the first time, you don't want to come off as like suspicious or anything. You want to be clear cut. Like, let's say you're in a job interview, you want to be authentic. You don't want to come off as someone you're not, especially when you're like wanting to get something.
That's a pretty good answer. Okay. What did you think? Who did you say? Oh, Allison. What did you think, Allison?
I think it was good. I think, like, me personally, I would have mentioned about, like, first impression. Like, I would have said that in my answer, but I think what Jimmy said, like, I agree with.
I think I agree with this statement. Was the book looking for, and are we talking about, when we're talking about reducing uncertainty, are we talking about the way we perceive things or the impression that we give?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I feel like it would be like the impression you give.
You know something? I think I would have to go and read the book again to reread it, but I am almost certain to say that they were talking about the impression you get, making an impression on somebody. But then again, since communication is a two-way street, then I think you could say probably it would work both ways. So I would say would give it to him for that. Although I would have to check the book to see whether or not I was correct in whether or not that's forming a first impression. Let me ask you this question, Jimmy. So you've explained why you'd want to reduce uncertainty for somebody when they met you. If you were developing a first impression of, let's say, Allison, why would you want to reduce uncertainty in your first encounter with Allison?
Can you say that one more time?
Yep. If you were meeting somebody and you were developing a first impression of them, why would you want to reduce uncertainty in that encounter?
Okay, so it's the first time you're meeting someone, and if I don't want to get a bad perception of who they are, because you don't know like where that relationship is going to go, like in the long run. So you want to make sure that you're giving that person the right like view, or you're perceiving them the way like they should. I don't know how to explain it really.
You were so close. Keep going. Perceiving them the way what? The way they are?
Like, man,
you're right there. You're right there. I think your first answer was actually good, but I think in the book when they do talk about it, they talk about your impressions of other people and reducing your uncertainty in forming your impressions of people or situations. I mean, you're all going to get into this where you're going to walk onto your college campus for the first time in the first day, and some of you are going to be totally intimidated by it. Some of you are going to be maybe not intimidated enough about it. Some of you are going to have whatever feelings about the school and about you being there. You know, I don't belong here. You know, this is beneath me. This is too good for me. But in this case, we're talking about when you meet Allison for the first time, all right, which is, I think I would say, Meg, would I say, am I correct if I said that meeting Allison for the first time would probably be one of the greatest moments in most people's lives?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it would be. So, Jimmy, you'd want to reduce uncertainty to get the most accurate impression of her?
Right.
Yeah. And why would that be important to get the most accurate impression of Allison when you met her?
Well, if someone was to talk about Allison and be like, oh, hey, this person is like XYZ, then I could say, well, this is how they came off to me. And like, I don't know, perceptions change. And I think first impressions are probably the most authentic.
They do stick with you for a while. But let's say if you were to meet her and you were to think to yourself, geez, this woman is brilliant in all ways. And it turned out that she was only brilliant on the English speaking side. Her math skills were a little weak. And her language skills, she only spoke 2 languages. That's nothing. That's nothing for Haverhill. So you'd want to have a sense of because you wouldn't want to go around saying, oh yeah, she speaks 4 languages. Does that make sense? So this is why you want it to be the most accurate impression. It's sort of like, and again, this is giving people the right impression and also getting the right impression. We go back to that example that they use in Mean Girls where the main character is really good at math, but she wants to impress a boy, so she does a kind of a fairly stupid thing, which is that she pretends not to understand the math so she can ask him to help her, and that creates an entry to conversation. Obviously, he doesn't get the most accurate impression of her. She doesn't give the most accurate impression. Why do you want the most accurate impression? Just because you want to know. If Allison's not a baseball fan and you walk away thinking she's a baseball fan, then, you know, she's not going to care the next 7 times you talk about the Red Sox game. If she's not a metalhead and you're talking to her about metal concerts, you're going to be boring her, and it's not going to be that interesting for you. Does that all make sense? So the most accurate, by reducing uncertainty, you can make the most accurate. You can make the most accurate impression if you're the person creating the impression, and if you're the person who's forming an impression, getting the most accurate impression right off the bat helps you to understand that person going further, and it creates basically a better base for the relationship. That makes sense to one and all? I know it's long and it took up a lot of time. Yeah. If you say yes, I keep going, so I get it. So anyway, Jimmy, nice job. Nice job. And I think your understanding of that is good. Tommy, you're next. Blank involves putting meaning into verbal and nonverbal messages and deriving messages from the deriving meaning from the messages you receive from others. Let me say that again. Blank involves putting meaning into verbal messages and nonverbal messages and deriving meaning. I'm not going to be able to say this. Somebody want to say this? Somebody, Nayelis, help me out here. Read this question in the answer.
All right. Blank involves putting meaning into verbal and nonverbal messages and deriving meaning from the messages you receive from others. Do you want me to read the answers too?
Yep, please do.
A, source and receiver. B, speaker and listener. C, connotation and denotation. And D, encoding and decoding.
Tommy, which is the answer?
Sorry, I got distracted. I'm thinking connotation and denotation.
Why are you thinking that?
Just from kind of working it out in my head. That's kind of, connotation is like forming things together, I guess, and putting a meaning into something that's verbal.
Okay, that's not correct. You want to take another shot at it?
Is it encoding and decoding?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Coding is, we know what the word word is, right?
Yeah.
You know what word is? Mm-hmm. Because at some point we've coded it, that if I say word, that's word. And so when you hear word, oh, it's word. That's not the hardest decoding you've ever done, is it?
No. But
if I say something like, we've got a big test tonight, or if I say to you, hey, if I'm one of your friends and I come over and I say, hey, tonight we got to do that thing, and you say, oh yeah, we got to do that thing tonight, we know that you're basically talking in a code that's supposed to help evade your parents' understanding. So that's encoding and decoding. So
okay.
Putting meaning into the message and deriving meaning from the messages, that's encoding and decoding. Connotation and denotation is pretty close, because connotation and denotation is the dictionary definition of a word or a phrase, and the interpretation or the emotionally loaded message that you might have.
Okay.
What's that? That's not me. I can tell that. Anyway, all right. So that's so it's encoding and decoding is the answer there. We're back to the top. I think, did I miss anybody? Courtney, conscious awareness of your thinking or communicating is called timidness, mindlessness, interpersonal competence, mindfulness, perceptual influence on the, All right, I think it's safe to say it's not E.
Is it mindfulness or interpersonal competence?
Oh, ooh, ooh. I already said yes when you said mindfulness.
Oh,
So yeah, it's mindfulness, but mindfulness is part of interpersonal competence. So,
okay. Sorry.
one goes into the other. This is one of the things about this class that makes it tricky is so much of this stuff is so obvious and so much of it overlaps. Anyway, but the answer there is mindfulness. In many instances, you're communicating even though you might not think you are or might not even want to be. This is called coincidence, the inevitability principle, the quality of irreversibility, the cloak of invisibility, or the Bourne conspiracy. Chris, which one?
Isn't it B, the inevitable? I can't even say it.
The inevitability principle. Yes, that is correct. You and Courtney are tied for the lead with 10 points. Jada Lee, what you have communicated remains communicated. You cannot uncommunicate. This is called A, coincidence, B, the inevitability principle, C, the quality of irreversibility, D, the cloak of invisibility, or E, the Bourne conspiracy.
C.
C, the quality of irreversibility. You are correct. What is E?
I do not know.
Nobody knows? Extra credit. Anybody know what E is? The Bourne conspiracy. Oh, you guys are so young. It's a movie. Also a book. That's too bad, because if somebody had got that, if Courtney, Chris, or Jada Lee had got that, they would have certainly won. Meg, true or false? The ability to communicate effectively, including, for example, the knowledge that in certain contexts or with certain listeners, one topic is appropriate and another isn't, is called interpersonal competence.
I think it's true.
You think it's true. You are correct. And now, Meg, you're probably thinking to yourself, if I had known the Bourne conspiracy, I would have 15 points and not just 10, and no one's going to get the chance to get to 15, so I would have won. And you would have been correct on both counts. But yes, that is interpersonal competence. Whoops, did I go with that one? Yep. Oh, this is something that was in the book, but I don't think we covered it. Allison, this is going to be tough for you. When an emotion spreads through a group, it is always bad. B, it is called emotional contagion. C, it can help the grieving process because everyone feels the same. D, it is great for morale. Or E, none of the above. What is the best answer?
Is it B?
Is it B? It is called emotional contagion?
Yeah. I'm guessing.
You're guessing. Why would you sound so uncertain?
Because I'm uncertain.
Okay. Yeah, it's called an emotional contagion. You're correct. And
Okay.
I'll tell you why. If you read this and you look at it like you would a message from the CDC or the NIH, National Institutes of Health, Centers for Disease, what is it, Center for Disease Control. When an emotion spreads through a group, it is called emotional contagion. So you take, when a blank spreads through a group, it is called what?
Like contagious?
It's called contagious. It's a contagion. You're right. It's just like what's going on with a virus, but the emotions will spread through a group. Can you give me an example where this could happen, either for the positive or for the negative?
What, like when an emotion spreads?
Yeah.
Maybe like what's going on right now with like the Black Lives Matter movement, like everyone's upset about.
All right. Can you give me a more, that's a good example. Can you get even more
Specific?
when you're at a protest and it turns violent? Because you've heard this, emotions run high.
Yeah.
Emotions spread throughout a group. That's really what you see all the time when a non-violent rally turns violent. It's almost always a result of the emotional contagion.
Yeah.
But you definitely see that like emotion in the group in any kind of a protest from start to, including a nonviolent protest. If you've got, and if you've seen some of these clips from around the country of actually very positive messages and very positive moments coming out of these protests, that's an emotional contagion as well. So, and by the way, the emotional contagion can help the grieving process because everyone feels the same. It is also sometimes great for morale. It is not always bad. Sometimes it's a good thing. So a lot of times when you work and you get into sales, they'll have a sales meeting at the beginning of the day, and it's like a little pep rally to get everybody revved up to sell. And that's what that is. That's about creating an emotional contagion in a positive way to get everybody out there selling and positive. So nice job, Ashley. So you have 10 points, and if only you had known. How about the cloak of invisibility? Ashley, do you know the cloak of invisibility?
A little bit.
What is it?
It's where it's something that's like imaginable and.
What is it?
Okay, I don't know how to explain it. I've heard of it though.
You've heard of it, but you can't identify it, where it comes from?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give Meg another chance because Meg has been very upset with herself ever since she didn't know the Born Contagion. Meg, what's the cloak of invisibility? Where's it come from?
Harry Potter.
Very good. And what is it?
It's like a cloak that they put over themselves and it makes them invisible.
Yeah, that's it. It's a cloak. They put it over. See, I'm going to be nice to her, actually. I'm not going to ask what a cloak is, but it's a cloak. They put it over themselves. They turn invisible. It's from, and so.
It's like
what's that?
It's like a cape or like a poncho.
Like a poncho. All right, we'll say it's like a poncho, a cloak and the poncho. That's pretty close. Yeah, we're going to give you the 5 points, and now you've got 15 points. So someone somehow got to get 15 points in order to unseat you, Meg. So right now you're the leader. So, all right, we're on the next one. True or false? This is for Allison. Nonverbal messages interact with verbal messages in 6 major ways: to accent, to complete, to contradict, to explain, to remand, and to substitute for each other. Nonverbal messages interact with verbal messages in 6 major ways. And this I don't think was in was in your reading, so this is going to be hard. I took out the ones that I took out most of them that weren't in the reading, but I missed this one. So Allison, good luck with this one. True or false?
True.
True is correct. You guys have got to give me a less like you're on Jeopardy, like in the form of a question, and much more like it's true. Be forceful, be confident. But yeah, you're right about that. Nice job. And we'll talk more about nonverbals in the future. Oh, look at this. More nonverbal stuff. This is so unfair, Natalie. Nonverbal messages. Oh, wait a minute. We've already had this one. Match the term with the title. Culture. Here we go. Natalie, you ready to go?
Yep.
So enculturation, assimilation, and acculturation, which one's A, which one's B, and which one's C? Oh, try to get this out of here for you.
I think enculturation is A.
A, right. Okay, what's assimilation?
Assimilation is at C.
Yes, that's
And
C.
then acculturation is B.
Yes, that's exactly right. ACB, good job. Nice job, 5 points for you. Next, Maeve. Narcissistic listening means getting tired because the speaker is boring. B, making it all about you as the receiver. C, pretending to listen. Listening aggressively is D, and all of the above is E. Maeve, what's the answer to this one?
E, all of the above.
No, narcissistic.
B, making it all about you.
Yeah, making it all about you. So, Heismer, here we go. Why is active listening a good skill for a manager? Heismer, because it is A, important for employees to be heard, B, to gain better understanding of issues involving employees, C, to become friends with their underlings, D, all of the above, E, none of the above, and F, A and B.
Is it F, A, and B?
That's very good. That's very good. I didn't think you'd hang in there. Usually people have made up their minds before. But yeah, you're exactly right. You gain better understanding of the issues, and you allow employees to be heard. That's a big part of active listening. It's just people want to be heard. Let's see, who's after Heismer? Alice. When talking with a manager, why is active listening a good skill for an employee? Because A, it demonstrates aggressive spirit. B, it helps the employee get better information and clear direction. C, it helps the employee demonstrate that he or she understands the manager. D, B, and C. E, A, and C.
I think it's B and C.
Okay, why is that?
Because if you're active listening, then one, you show that you're receiving the information, you understand it. And then two, you're going to better understand it because you're more focused on what they're saying. And I just don't think that like it means you're aggressive. So.
Right. Yeah, demonstrating aggressive spirit is not always the best thing. So nice job.
Mhm.
Next, let's see. Emily, in addition to listening politely, active listening often includes A, drawing the speaker out and then solving his or her problem, aggressively getting to the root of the issue, paraphrasing, asking questions and showing understanding, or D, jogging in place.
I think it would be C, but like A, I mean, it says then solve, like drawing the speaker out, like how? I don't know what that, like, what does it mean by that?
Drawing the speaker out? Well, let me say this. You just got to
forcefully.
You have to answer the questions as it lies. But
okay.
What we're talking about drawing the speaker out is finding out exactly what the speaker is saying. So it's which one is it?
Well, I was gonna say C, but I'm not so sure.
You're gonna say C, but you're not sure. All right. Well, what?
Yeah.
You think you need help from somebody?
Because I feel like it's kind of both. So.
You think it's both? Both what? You think it's both?
Like A and C. C is more like it's more detailed, but like A is also like you said, like.
Would you like to consult with Libby?
Sure.
Libby, consult with Emily on this. She thinks it could be A and C. She doesn't think it's D for some reason. How would you counsel her, Libby?
Let me just reread them again.
Sure.
I think it would be C.
You think it would be C? All right. Now, Libby, is that what you're telling Emily?
Yeah.
Why would you tell Emily that and have it and tell her it's C and not A?
Because C, you're not like wording their problem or any. Well, that's what paraphrasing is like you're engaging yourself and like asking questions. Obviously, that's what it says, and you're understanding what they're talking about. So you're still like understanding their problem and like involving yourself, paraphrasing what they said. But A is drawing the speaker out and then solving his or her problem. I think it's more about solving the problem together rather than drawing the speaker out and then solving it yourself.
Emily, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, and I'll go one step further. Solving the problem might be a part of the managerial process, depending on the circumstance, but sometimes there's not a problem to solve, and sometimes you don't solve the problem. You just, solving the problem is not really part of the equation for active listening. It can be a part of an equation that you use along with active listening, but frequently it's not about solving the actual problem. Like, for example, if we use the example of the employee who's always showing up late, obviously we want to solve the problem, but active listening is a technique that you use along the way to solving the problem. It's not, solving the problem is not part of the active listening, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do talk about having a next step. And there is the idea of the next step. Let's talk about this next week. Let's try this and we'll see how it works. So there is a problem solving aspect in that somewhat. But in that case, you're using the active listening technique, and the solving the problem is almost something you tack onto it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, sometimes, and we talked about the different listening styles of men and women, and you know, sometimes individuals don't want you to solve their problems, and sometimes it's not really necessary to solve the problem. So, and sometimes solving the problem is actually works against the listening process, because you get to the point where you're focused too much on solving the problem and not enough on listening to the other speaker. Does that make sense to one and all?
Yeah.
I hope it does. Okay. So Emily, we're going to give you 5 points, and Libby, we're going to give you 4 for that, and now we're going to give you 5 if you get this one right. Libby, what is a stereotype?
A.
A, that's exactly correct. Very good. You have 14 points, which puts you 1 behind the leader, Meg. And then everybody else will get either 10 or 5. Angel, you got 5. If you get this right, you'll pull into a tie for 3rd. Oops. What's going on here? There we go. Angel, what is your cultural identity? Is it your race? Is it the country you live in? Is it artifacts and trinkets? Or is it a commitment to the ways and beliefs of your culture?
Would it be D?
What's that?
D?
D as in David?
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct. And you understand, of course, the big thing about culture to think about is that culture is passed on from person to person, usually in the family, depending on where you live. And if we're talking about the culture as we see it, as in your ethnic and racial culture, it's not being born Dominican, it's being raised Dominican. It's not being born Irish, it's being raised Irish. And that's the difference between the two. So we talk about the culture, and the culture is somewhat different than your biology. Let's see. Well, we already had this. What is a stereotype? I think I do that in the class just to see if anyone's paying attention, because we get to this part of the class and we get a little tired. Niles, true or false? Cultural assimilation is a process whereby a minority group gradually adapts to the customs and attitudes of the prevailing culture and customs.
I think that's true.
You think that's true?
Yeah.
You assimilate? Yes. Yes, acculturation is learning the new culture. Assimilating is kind of blending in. Uh-oh, I should have given everybody that answer, because now we're to Jimmy, and we've just given the answer out. Jimmy? Cultural assimilation is a process whereby a person learns about their culture. True or false?
False.
False, because what is the process whereby a person learns about their culture?
Oh my God, I just read this. Oh, process where.
What does it say again?
Okay, a process when a person learns about their culture.
Yep.
Is it acculturation?
Yeah, very good. And all 3 of those will be on the quiz. I'm sorry, will be on the midterm. Okay. Oh, bad news, Tommy.
Wait, can you repeat the last question? Like, what was the answer again? I didn't hear it.
It was false. It was not assimilation. Cultural assimilation is a process whereby a person learns about their culture. The way you learn about your culture is enculturation.
So this one's enculturation?
Yep, there's enculturation, acculturation, and assimilation.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Tommy, here you go. I think this could be our last question. I'm not sure. But here's something I don't think we covered, but I think it was covered in the reading. Why would a person tell a lie?
Well, from my like perspective, I think people tell lies because like they want to like make a better image for themselves, or they want to like keep something a secret because it's like might affect them in a negative way.
Keep a
So they'll
secret.
say something so that they can like protect themselves.
Okay. What was the first one you said? They want to keep a secret or do what?
Um,
Yeah, I know. I can't think of keep it. They were both correct. They were both correct. I
Okay.
just wanted to keep track of it because now you've got 10 points. So you're tied with everybody for third, except for Libby, who's got 19, and Meg, I'm sorry, 14, and Meg, who has 15. So, Tommy, who would you say should we have a playoff between Libby and Meg? Sure, we
why
should.
not? Why not?
All right, Libby, you're behind, so we're going to give you this question. You ready, Libby?
Okay.
Okay. Why would a person tell a lie?
I think a person would tell a lie for multiple different reasons. One of which may to protect the person they're telling the lie to. Like, it could
Okay.
be about them, like say their boyfriend cheated on them and they don't want to like tell them because their boyfriend's like their best friend, so they're protecting their boyfriend and kind of protecting the feelings of their other friend.
Okay, we'll give you that one. We'll give you that one, Libby. Now, Tommy, should we give Meg a chance to maybe come back and answer that?
Sure.
Sure, of course we should. Meg, why would a person tell a lie?
Well, I agree with what Tommy said at first, how you're like trying to protect your personal image and how people view you.
Yeah, but we need a new one. So it can't be protect image, it can't be keep a secret, and it can't be protect the person you're speaking to.
Okay. Maybe because they're like embarrassed about it. I don't know if that would go along with protecting your image, but like say you did something when you were really young and it was like a mistake and you weren't like as responsible or mature as you are now, you would want to lie about that.
So avoiding embarrassment, is that too close to protecting your image, Tommy? Or you want to give it to her?
I feel like it kind of is protecting your image because like if you're like embarrassed about something, like you're kind of like worried like about yourself.
Okay, so you think avoiding embarrassment is too close? Would you give her another whack at it?
Sure.
Yeah, we've got 8 more minutes. All right, Meg, we're going to give you another whack at it.
Okay.
What do you think the chances are that we're going to go back to Libby after you answer this question?
I'm not sure.
Probably 100. Probably 100%. All right, go ahead. What's the next one?
I mean, you could lie to get something you want.
Oh, here it is. To get something you want.
So like you could like this is a bad example, but if you like lie to your teacher that you did something and like you did an assignment that you hadn't done.
Yep.
To get like to improve your grade, like if you usually do your assignments and your teacher like trusts that you're a good student.
Yep.
And that you're usually on time with things and you lie to them and tell them that you did the assignment and like they might have lost it or something, make them question themselves, then you could get the grade that you want.
Okay, I'll definitely give you that one. So that's 5 points. Now you get 20 to 19. You're now the leader. Libby, besides getting something you want, protecting the person you're speaking to, keeping a secret, or protecting an image, why would you lie?
For fun.
For fun. Okay. Can you give me an example of what's that?
For a thrill, like maybe like you like come home and like I'm not gonna tell my mom where it was because it's fun and I don't want.
I'm sorry, your sound got
I
weird.
don't know.
Your sound got weird on me. Give me an
No, I
example
can't think of
again.
another one. I'm just,
What's that?
I don't know. I literally can't think of another. I can't think of another one.
So you say for fun, but you can't give an example?
Like say like I don't really know. Like, so like you could just do it literally as like a thrill. Like say you're like talking and like, okay, I've done this. I've lied to my teacher before. This is a little different, not about like schoolwork, but she was like annoying me because I'm like this teacher, and I was like, she called on me for attendance, and I was like, I have a hearing issue, and she believed me, and that was kind of fun. So
Okay.
I don't
All
know
right.
what else to say.
Should we give her that? Your mic
To
was.
give Meg the points. Just,
Say it again.
sorry, I have a bad connection. Can you hear me?
Jimmy, am I wrong, or does her mic sound kind of weird?
She's lagging a little bit.
She's what? She's lying
She's
a little
lagging a little bit, yeah.
What? What? You're clearly mad about something.
bit. All right, we'll give Meg one more chance to win it. Meg, what other reason would a person tell a lie?
I think because you have, like, as a result of you telling other lies, like, you know how they say, like,
Ooh, cover up.
yeah, like you've already say like, you've been lying to your mom about something that you had, like where you had been and what you were doing, and she asked more questions, like details about that event.
Yeah.
And so you lie to her more to make it more convincing, if that makes sense, because you can't tell her the truth because you already lied about it.
Right. So you want to keep positive face or create positive face by lying about it. That's a good one. Can I give you a real life example of how somebody lied and it built onto a bigger lie and a bigger lie and a bigger lie?
Yeah.
I knew two people, and I knew a guy, and he kept talking about how he was how he was engaged, and he was getting married, and he was all excited, and he had all these wedding plans, and he went through all of these plans for the wedding, and there was a hall, and there were going to be. He was telling people to save the date, and they were getting set to send out the invitations, and his bride to be said it was all a lie because she had her parents had promised to pay for the wedding if she finished some schooling. She didn't finish the schooling. They said they weren't going to pay. She never told the boyfriend. And so she went along with the planning process right up until the point where she was telling him that they had the church, telling him they had a date for the hall, telling him all of this stuff was arranged. And she finally had to tell him, no, it's all a lie. Is that extreme?
That's horrible.
It is horrible, isn't it? And it's funny because he kind of dropped out of sight after that happened, and I'm in contact with him, but I'm not close enough to him to ask what happened, what was the resolution. But what a crazy situation, from one little lie to another little lie to another little lie, and I don't know why she didn't tell him originally. I don't know why it built like this, but it's a good example of how one lie can build into a whole bunch of lies and create a mess. But anyway, I always think that's a good story, and it's a good lying story because it shows, what a web we weave when first we practice to deceive. That's it for the review. The test will go up at 12:15 tomorrow. As we said, it will stay up until Saturday at 11:59 p.m. 4 minutes per answer. Good luck. And any questions?
Are you gonna post this PowerPoint?
I'm gonna email the PowerPoint to everybody in the class. You should have been getting all the PowerPoints on emails.
Okay.
And then I'll take this a video of this and I'll put it up for a day and then take it down.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Good luck on the midterm. No need to meet tomorrow in class, and I'll see you Monday. And I don't know what the reading is, but it's on the syllabus. And we'll talk about the reading on Tuesday. And I'll put an announcement with a week schedule sometime over the weekend. Good?
Yep. Thank you.
So Maddie wanted me to tell you that she was at work and that's why she wasn't here. I didn't mean to interrupt anyone. I just wanted to say.
Who's that?
Me, Courtney. I'm just saying that Maddie was at work and that's why she's not here, but she didn't get a chance to tell you.
Okay. All right. So tell her to watch the video or read through the PowerPoint, whichever is better for her. And yeah, good luck on the midterm, everybody.
Thank you.
See you guys. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.